What if I told you that one of Hollywood's most mysterious stars carried secrets so dark they followed him from childhood all the way to the movie set? Imagine being just 6 months old when your mother disappears, growing up above a funeral home surrounded by death, and then, decades later, having the FBI warn you of real death threats. This is the story of Clarence Williams III, a man whose life was even more haunting than the roles he played. Born on August 21st, 1939, in Harlem, Clarence entered the world under the shadow of loss. His mother disappeared so completely that her name wasn't even recorded in family albums or census records. Relatives told the New York Times that after she vanished, the family eventually gave up trying to trace her. His father, Clarence Clay Williams Jr., was a jazz clarinet player, but steady work was hard to find as the big band era faded. Constantly traveling, Clay left his baby son in the care of his parents. Clarence's grandparents were no ordinary caretakers, they were legends. His grandfather, Clarence Williams Sr., wrote classics like "Tain't Nobody's Business If I Do" and "Baby, Won't You Please Come Home." His grandmother, Eva Taylor, was a blues singer who had once filled vaudeville theaters in London. In the 1930s, their earnings reached the equivalent of more than $800,000 a year. Their home in Queens became a gathering place for icons such as Bessie Smith, Sidney Bechet, and even a teenage Fats Waller. But while their world was filled with music, Clarence's childhood was marked by death. The family's home sat above a funeral parlor. Growing up, Clarence walked past corpses covered with sheets and rows of coffins being carried inside. In violent Harlem, 3 homicide victims a week passed through the mortuary. At 11 years old, he witnessed 8 tiny coffins laid side by side after a fire. He later said the memory burned its own film noir into his mind. By adulthood, he never flinched around blood, grief, or death. Casting directors mistook this for method acting. In truth, it was the look of a boy who had memorized faces the world had forgotten. His journey to acting was pure chance. At 18, Clarence stopped at the YMCA to borrow $20 from his sister. Wandering into the basement, he stumbled upon a rehearsal. The director handed him a script, and Clarence delivered the lines so powerfully that he was cast on the spot. That very night, he performed in front of Cicely Tyson and James Earl Jones. He would later joke that he still owed the theater $20 plus interest, but the truth was, the stage had saved him from a dangerous life. Before that, Clarence had worked as a runner for Harlem's underground lottery, collecting bets and memorizing routes. If police appeared, he chewed and swallowed the betting slips. 2 friends were killed in 1956 over unpaid debts, and Clarence knew how close he had come to the same fate. The theater offered a way out. Then came another turn. In 1958, Clarence joined the 101st Airborne Division, known as the Screaming Eagles. He completed 32 parachute jumps, including 3 at night with full gear. He said the Army taught him how to breathe, wait, and strike, skills he later brought into his performances. Discharged in 1960, he returned to New York, and by 1964, he was starring in Slow Dance on the Killing Ground. At 25, he became the youngest black actor ever nominated for a Tony Award. Hollywood noticed quickly. Networks and studios offered him sitcoms and films worth thousands of dollars per week, but Clarence refused. He wanted truth, not stereotypes. He chose stage roles that paid a fraction of what television offered. Everything changed in 1968 when producer Aaron Spelling was casting The Mod Squad. The network wanted a clean-cut actor for the role of Link Hayes, but Clarence walked in wearing army boots, a wool cap over his afro, and eyes that seemed to carry Harlem itself. Bill Cosby, who had seen Clarence on stage, personally told Spelling that he was the one. When the Mod Squad premiered, 26 million viewers tuned in. Clarence became the first black actor to lead a primetime cop drama. Behind the scenes, tensions brewed. Co-star Michael Cole admitted years later that Clarence's quiet intensity intimidated him. On one occasion, Cole shoved him during filming, sending him over a railing. But Clarence stood firm. When ABC tried to censor a storyline about corrupt cops, he threatened to walk off the show. He told them, "If kids in Watts know this happens and we pretend it doesn't, they'll never trust us, or you." The scene stayed, and the show earned critical recognition. One of Clarence's strongest supporters was Lucille Ball, whose office at Desilu Studios was near his. She mentored him, taught him comedic timing, and defended his afro when network executives demanded he cut it. She even sent him flowers every birthday until her death. Clarence would later say he could still hear her voice guiding him on stage. In his personal life, Clarence married actress Gloria Foster in 1967. The two had met years earlier and shared a love of theater. Though they divorced in 1984, they remained close, often calling each other on holidays and even defending one another from the press. Clarence also had one daughter, Jaime Phillips, whom he fiercely protected from public attention. When the Mod Squad ended in 1973, Hollywood wanted him for blaxploitation films, flashy productions filled with guns and stereotypes. Clarence turned down every offer, even though it cost him millions in potential earnings. He said he'd rather play kings for pennies than sidekicks for gold. In 1984, his career reignited when Prince chose him for Purple Rain. Prince had watched Clarence on the Mod Squad and declared, "That man can break me with his eyes." To prepare for the role of Prince's father, Clarence isolated himself, pulling from painful memories of his past. The result was unforgettable, a performance so powerful it moved Prince to tears on set. From there, Clarence built a reputation for roles that carried weight. In 52 Pickup, he played Bobby Shy, a terrifying villain whose voice ticked to the rhythm of a heartbeat. In 1995, he starred in Tales from the Hood as a funeral director. He drew on his childhood above a mortuary to make the performance chillingly real. The film became a cult classic, later praised by directors like Jordan Peele as a landmark in black horror. But not everyone could separate him from the role. After the film's release, Universal Studios received 9 letters threatening Clarence's life. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories.